Is this frequency in use? This is Kilo India 5 Delta Oscar Golf KI5DOG, and my name is David. My station is in the Rio Grande Valley of deep South Texas, and welcome to this episode of 73 in the RGV. This episode is being recorded on Sunday, May 18, 2025 for online publication on Sunday, May 18, 2025. Welcome again, everybody. I am David, call sign KI5DOG, and welcome to this episode of 73 in the RGV. As always, 73 in the RGV is a information sharing podcast. It's here to help you get started if you're on the fence or not too sure, or you've been interested on becoming a licensed amateur radio operator. That's what this podcast is all about, is to help you, well, to give you a little bit more information on that. And of course, sharing with you what's going on in the amateur radio community here in our area of deep South Texas, the Rio Grande Valley. Alrighty, so in this episode, well, past episodes, we did the introduction. We talked about licensing. You got to get licensed, folks. You can't get around it. And so we're going to talk about the basic equipment. That's what this episode is. So you've done the training, you've learned, you've studied, you've taken the test, you've passed. Are you ready? No, you got to have the equipment. You got to get on the air. Now, I know that there's this little time between when you're tested and you pass the test and you get that confirmation you passed, and you get the notification from the FCC saying, hey, here's your call sign. Well, there's that little time, but you've got a lot of work to do in that little time. And it's a couple of weeks, really. You want to get the equipment. You want to get yourself set up. You need to figure out what you're going to do, what your base station is going to be, what your ham shack's going to look like, things like that. You're going to need to know, what equipment are you going to use? How are you going to start off? And of course, all of it, everything right there, everything I just mentioned revolves around, gravitates towards money. It's what makes the world go round. Yes, that's the song. But what I'm getting at is it does not have to be expensive. And it can be inexpensive to get started, get into it, to dip your toe into the water. Now, I know there's going to be individuals that'll say, oh, no, you have to have this equipment. You have to have that equipment. You have to have this type of antenna. And that's the only way. No, that's not the only way. There are plenty of options out there. If there were not plenty of options out there, then this episode would be over. There's just a lot. And I'm going to talk about some of that. So you're going to need a radio. Now, are you going to choose a handheld, a base station, or are you going to choose a mobile one you can put in your car and vehicle, your truck, whatever? Right, so what works? What works for you? What's going to be for you? And of course, you're going to, like I said, it's all about how much you're willing to spend up front. Or in some cases, how much you're allowed to spend up front. Alrighty. Now, and I do know that there have been people that go into the deep end right away. And that's fine. Then they get disillusioned. It's not what they thought it was going to be. So my recommendation is start off small. But you're going to need to find out. First of all, what you tested for and what you passed. What are you going to be able to transmit on? What frequencies are you allowed to transmit on? Typically, the technicians, right off the bat, 2 meters, 70 centimeter bands. Right, so that's okay. That's pretty much popular. It's our local area. That's great. That's all we need. So we're going to need to get that equipment. So where do you find it? Where do you find that equipment? Well, of course, my recommendation is always start with the club websites. Look in your area, find those amateur radio clubs, and visit their website. See if there's anything for sale. See if anybody's willing to trade something, whatever. Find it, look it up. And why do I recommend there? Because now, right off the bat, you're making an entry into the local community. You haven't even keyed up your mic. You haven't even made your first contact, and you are already interfacing. You're already getting to know people in the local amateur radio community. That's a good thing. The sooner the better. Now, of course, then there's the other websites, the ones that are there that sell you stuff, and that's like Amazon.com and Walmart.com. And then there's the specific ones, the very specific amateur radio-based websites. There's DX Delta X-Ray Engineering, Ham Radio Outlet, Gigaparts.com. That's just to name a few. There's countless others. As I mentioned, this hobby can be expensive, but it can be quite affordable if you shop wisely and look for those deals, they're out there. Now, it doesn't mean that, oh, it's cheap. It's a terrible piece of equipment and I get what I pay for. Folks, yes, you get what you pay for. But now, mind you, I'm gonna go on a deep end here. I started off with a little Baofeng radio, $20 radio on Amazon. I think that pretty much everybody's starting off that way, and that's fine. Again, get your dip your toe in the water, get your feet wet, and then figure out if that's where you want to be. And if then, not a lot of investment up front, but you're making contacts, you're on the radio, right? So, and to say, is it a good radio? With $20, is it a good radio? As a point of reference, folks, I have the video to prove it. I have made contact with a NASA astronaut that's he's back home now, but he was on the International Space Station, and I was just using that Baofeng, a simple, inexpensive mobile radio and a homebrew antenna. And I'll talk about homebrew antennas later. And I have the video for it. It's on my X account. But you don't need much. And it's pretty cool. And it's the ARISS program, Amateur Radio on the International Space Station. And we'll talk more about that in a future episode. So I didn't need the big $2,000-$3,000 piece of equipment and a $1,000 antenna system. No, just a little handheld antenna. Now, I did not use the stock antenna, but we'll talk about antennas. Well, let's talk about them. The handheld radios that you get, they come with a stock antenna, little rubber duck antenna. You can kind of play with it and it bends. It's not the walkie-talkie antennas we had when we were kids. No, they were all, metal pull out and then, whoops, that's it. It snaps or it bends and you'll never get it back in properly or it'll never be straight again. No, these are stock rubber duck antennas, and these are the ones that come with the handheld radio. And they're okay. Don't get me wrong. They're okay. They're going to do the job as long as you're on top of a hill and with the clear line of sight to a repeater tower or to the individual you're wanting to talk to if you're using a simplex channel or a simplex communication. So you get the handheld. You might want to spend, another $20. In some cases, some of these extra or the aftermarket antennas cost double than the radio. But folks, that's where it's at. It's that antenna. And I know people that will criticize the Baofeng, but as long as you got a great antenna, you're making the contacts. And that's really where it's at. It's the antenna. So you can spend $20 or $2,000, but if that antenna is terrible, you're not going anywhere. Alrighty. So those antennas, again, those are for the handhelds. Now, you can also buy them almost anywhere. Same thing with the radios. You can buy antennas almost anywhere, to include Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart. Yeah, your local home and garden and lumber supply store. They carry antennas there. You'll have to mount them, and those are, on the roof of your house or the apex of your roof. Anything to get above and as high as you can. So whatever works for you. Now, of course, you can build your own. I have, like I mentioned, a 2-meter vertical dipole that sits up in my attic. And that's pretty cool because I pretty much hit all the areas. Of course, there's going to be other factors that affect the reception or how I hit the antennas or the repeater antennas. But for the most part, they've not done me wrong. I also have a 10-meter dipole that's on a horizontal dipole for my 10-meter. And hey, being a technician, you get access to the 10-meter band. That's the 28.000 megahertz, right there, up to 28.4999999 megahertz, 500 actually, and then anything above that is a different license class. So, and that's a horizontal dipole, and I have that in the backyard along my fence. Yeah, it lays on top of the fence. Yeah, so again, it's all homebrew. And I've made contacts on the 10-meter to Brazil. I've made contacts to Southern Africa. Not South Africa, but southern part of the continent of Africa. Western Europe along the coast, Portugal, Spain. So in that area. And I've even hit, I'm not kidding, I've even hit Scotland from here. I've hit Korea. So, yeah, I mean, I've made contacts that far. So, yeah, just a little simple 10-meter horizontal dipole will do the trick. And again, it's just homemade. And I also have this highly portable, and I Did it from scratch. Homemade duct tape antenna. Duct tape? Well, it's not just duct tape. There's this copper strip in there, but it's real simple, very portable. It rolls up. It's awesome. And I'm going to talk more about home brews on a later episode. But again, what I'm getting at here is it doesn't have to break the bank. Now, so you've got your handheld, and then you've got your antenna, and you're going to have to program that radio. You're going to have to enter in all the codes, right? The tones and the frequencies and all of that. So you're going to need a computer, and you're going to need some software to program the radio. Now, there's a very popular piece of software called Chirp, CHIRP. And the Baofangs, they tie in right into it. Really nice. It talks, you can type in all the frequencies, and you upload it, and off you go. There's also proprietary software. There are some radios that use very specific proprietary software, and that's okay. That works too. And of course, you can always hard code it, where you actually have to figure out, well, here's how I'm going to enter the frequency, here's how I'm going to save it, and so on. Now, frequencies. Entering the frequencies. Well, where do you find the frequencies? Well, again, as always, you go to your club websites, find your local amateur radio club websites, and usually they have a list of all the frequencies that they have for their repeaters or the area that they use. If they have the simplex net, they'll have that frequency there. So there's that. Then, of course, there's the websites like radioreference.com, and this is just a huge, huge depository. It's just a huge collection of frequencies all across, well, in this case, North America and other areas of the world. And you just use their map, or you can just drill down by clicking on your state and then your town. And then you're going to see all the frequencies available in that area. And if you're traveling and you want to program for your travels, that way you don't have to figure out, oh, well, here's where I am, and I need to plug them all in. No, you can even plug them in ahead of time. Because don't forget, some of these handhelds have hundreds slots. Yeah, frequency slots. Memory where you can store up to 100, 200 different channels, frequencies. So either way, get it uploaded, get it ready, put it all together, and you're ready to get on the air. Now again, don't forget, you have to have your license first. You have to have your license first before you key up that mic. You can listen all you want. I highly encourage you to listen while you're waiting for that license confirmation email to come in from the FCC that says, here's your license, you got it, congratulations, here's your call sign. So do not key up the mic until you have that license, you have your call sign. All right, and then again, next episode, making your first contact, getting on the air. So again, you're going to need that equipment. The first piece of equipment you're really going to truly need is your license. Now, yes, you can buy all of the equipment, the radio, the antennas. You don't need a license to buy them. You do not need a license to buy the equipment, but it helps. Right? No one's going to ask you what's your license. No, but you just feel a little bit more comfortable if you accidentally hit it, activate it. You're covered. But be careful. So do not. So do your shopping. Do your work, put in a little work, figure out what you need, figure out what you can spend. First of all, I highly recommend figuring out what you're willing to spend on the first go around. And again, I know a lot of people that just went with the Baofeng because it's popular, because it's inexpensive, and if it breaks, throw it away, get another one. It's that simple. Yeah, because again, it would just be too costly to replace it. But $20, $30, it just depends on the flavor that you want. Alrighty, so put it all together and then get on the air. We'll talk about that in the next episode. Alrighty, so let's get up to the upcoming events portion of our show. Now, this information is drawn from various web and social media sources. Of course, if there's an event or project or program or testing dates on your schedule, and I do not mention it here, then please feel free to drop me a note at ki5dog@yahoo.com. Again, that's ki5dog, that's my call sign, at yahoo.com. Now, let's get on with it. From the rioarc.org website, the Rio Amateur Radio Club website, has on its website a link to their 4th Pico Balloon. That's right, Pico Balloon. This little cool project, folks. Visit it. That's rioarc.org website. The Pico balloon is a small foil balloon. They load it up with this lighter than air gas, so it'll float. And it's got at the end of it a little 10-meter transmitter. It pings out. And on the 10-meter band, you'll be able to hear it. And it's sending out, what is it pinging out? Well, it's altitude, location, barometric pressure, a lot of great information. And it's pinging it out as it moves through the atmosphere. I want to say it was the second Pico balloon, the second Pico launch, went all the way to China. And we lost contact, or the world lost contact with it after it crossed into Chinese airspace. Not too sure what happened there, but hey, could have hit a mountain. It's quite mountainous out that way, in that part. Now, the next one, as I'm recording this, it's Sunday, and it's in the morning. It is just immediately to the north and a little bit west on the Florida Keys. The Florida Keys, so down in that area. And it's moving. It moved, and it's because it launched on Saturday, it's my understanding. It launched early on Saturday. So not bad for the first full day of flight, basically across the Gulf of America. So there we go. So again, check it out. It's pretty cool. Check it out. It is really cool. Let's see, the Amateur Radio Relay League Field Day 2025. The 2025 Field Day is going to be on June 28th, and the Rio Amateur Radio Club will be at the Spotted Sea Trout Park in Rio Hondo, Texas, from 1 p.m. to about 5 p.m. Just look for the Rio ARC banner. Hey, we might actually do a live remote there or a recording from there. But I plan on being there on June 28th, so this should be a lot of fun. Also, be on the lookout for more information on this event. I'll be reaching out to the organizer real soon, and we'll try to get them, get the individual or a representative to be on the podcast and kind of do a quick little interview of what to expect, what's going on, and all the good stuff. Alrighty, again, still with the RioARC.org website. Breakfast every Wednesday at 8 a.m. at Los Leones in La Feria, Texas. And every Saturday, breakfast every Saturday at 8 a.m. at Tejano Grill in Harlingen. That's on 803 South 77 Sunshine Strip, Harlingen, Texas. Now, folks, as I'm mentioning, this is open to you. If you're not a licensed amateur radio operator, but you're interested, show up. Meet the people. Meet the people you'll be talking to. Put faces to the call signs before you get to use the call signs. So, again, and trust me, they'll talk about a lot of different things, but they will talk about amateur radio. And especially if you're new or you're interested, trust me, you're going to get a lot of great knowledge. They're going to share great information with you. And they're going to go out of their way to ensure that, hey, if you ever have a question, you've got the answer. They're going to get it to you. Alrighty. So again, that's for the RioARC.org website. From the W5RGV.org website, again, a couple of things going on there. Let's see, we've got the Valley Information Net on the STARS linked repeater system every day, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. All amateur radio operators are welcome to participate. And if you're listening, just listen. Do not key up the mic if you do not have that license. The District 21 Races Net, that's the monthly, that's a monthly meeting on the STARS Link repeater system, but that's Monday on the the first Wednesday of every month at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. So that's the District 21 Races Net. Oh my goodness. RACES, Races. All right, so we'll talk about Races and Aries in a separate episode. Again, we're just trying to get you on the air first. Now, from the RGVARC.org, right, the RGVARC, we have Rags You Monday, every Monday at 6 p.m. on the Real Link repeater system. The District 3 AriesNet every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on the Real Link repeater system, Aries, ARES. Again, we'll talk more about them. And on Sundays, now this one is pretty cool. This is the Simplex Sunday, every Sunday at 6 p.m. on frequency 146.52, again, 146.52 megahertz, which is the national simplex calling frequency in the United States for amateur radio. So that's basically point to point, right? One person talks, you're listening on the same frequency. When you transmit, you're transmitting on the same frequency. You're not using a repeater, but it's good. It's good to test your equipment, to know your limitation of your transmitter. Your receiver, in some cases, you can receive stuff far, far away. But if your transmitter is not transmitting enough power, well, then now you're going to know, meaning, or your antenna is not strong enough. There you go. So you'll find out. But hey, Simplex is a lot of fun. So check us out. Listen in. And breakfast every Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Junction Cafe. Folks, the Junction Cafe is in Pharr, Texas. It's at the southeast corner of Business 83 and Cage Boulevard, State Highway 281. It's there. It's an institution. Open 24/7 is my understanding. I need to check it out. I need to put it to the test one time. But breakfast every Saturday, 10 a.m. And again, another great group of amateur radio operators. And yes, they also talk about a plethora of subjects and topics, and of course, ham radio. So again, great group of people. Stop by, join them for breakfast, and that's on Saturdays. All right, now the invitation here. This goes out to all technician, general, and amateur extra license holders that want to talk about amateur radio, their journey into the hobby, and anything else ham radio related. Please do not hesitate to drop me an email at ki5dog@yahoo.com, ki5dog@yahoo.com. As always, a special invite to the Amateur Radio Club officers or public affairs representatives to join me on this podcast to share the latest happenings, actions, and activities. Again, calling out for you to join, share your information. Let's bring in more. Let's recruit more. Let's do what it takes to get more individuals into the hobby. Alrighty, questions. Also, questions. If you have any questions, we got answers. And if I don't know the answer, which I probably don't, I most definitely know the people that have the answers. I will put a call out. I will reach out and I'll say, hey, here's the question that came in, and what's the answer? Alrighty, let's start something new here. Shout outs. Starting to give out shout outs. Shout out to Kilo Juliet 5, Foxtrot Alpha X-Ray, KJ5 FAX for your comment. You're the first commenter on our YouTube channel. And if you're hearing this on the YouTube channel, you can visit the Apple Podcast page so you can subscribe. We got that finally under control. So you can subscribe to hear this episode and all episodes of 73 in the RGV on your smartphone, your tablet, or on your home computer. You can hear me in your ham shack. And again, if you're building your ham shack, you can hear me there too while you're building it. It's awesome. No, seriously, don't hesitate to comment, questions, concerns, remarks. Drop us a note. Let us know. All right. Lastly, this is again now for you. If you're not yet a licensed amateur radio operator, please protect our airways. They're ours, all of us. All of us, not just the licensed, but the unlicensed individual. They're all of us, our airwaves. And protect them by keeping the pirate in you at bay. Yes, piracy or radio pirate or transmission by unlicensed individuals or parties is a federal crime, and it's punishable, which includes fines of up to $10,000 and or imprisonment for up to 1 year with increased penalties for subsequent violations. Folks, people are listening. People are monitoring. Do not key up that mic if you are not a licensed amateur radio operator. So again, be careful. Right? It's not worth it. Get licensed. Join the fun. Join our awesome community. We will welcome you with open arms. We want to hear from you. We want to get to know you. We want you to be part of what we do because it is a lot of fun. We got some great stuff going on around here, and it's time for you to join us. So don't hesitate. Now, it's time for us to bring this episode to a close. So again, thank you for joining me today. We hope you come back often. And remember, in the next episode, we're going to talk about making your first contact. Now, you got all your equipment, you got your license, and that's the only way to get on the air. Let's talk about how to make that first contact. Listen, I am KI5DOG, and I am now returning this frequency back to regular amateur use. And until next time, this is 73 in the RGV, and I am Kilo India 5 Delta Oscar Golf, clear on your final 73.